Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mabimpressions, and today I want to talk about Songs of Conquest. This game comes out May 10th, 2022, and it's going to be going for around $30 US. It launches in early access. Did I say early access? Anyway, I want to thank the devs and publishers Lava Potion and Coffee Stain Publishing for their review copy. However, all thoughts will be my own. If the game sucks and has problems, I'll let you know. So I'm going to try to answer some questions. What is the game? What's in the early access launch? And if I think it's worth your time and money. So this game is a turn-based sort of management game. A lot of macro, a lot of micro combat. And it is heavily inspired by games such as Heroes of Might and Magic. So going into this little discussion review for your reference, I am familiar with the franchise. However, I've only played the first game, but I really liked it. So, you know, this game has a lot of cool features I do like that obviously wasn't in the first PC release. So I don't know what else they have sort of borrowed or, you know, even worked upon, you know, for the extra sequels, Might and Magic 2 and 3 and so on. So, you know, anything I say here, you know, I don't know what was in the previous games. But yeah, this is not related, by the way. This is just, you know, some developers who really love those games into this one. So this game has a couple of different modes right now, and I did try them out. The first one is campaign. At the launch, there's around 2 campaigns where you're going to be following some characters of 2 factions over a couple of stages. The first stage is basically a tutorial, and they teach you all of the stuff, the UI, etc. It only lasted around an hour for the first stage, so I'm assuming, you know, 2, 3, and so on is going to be a couple more hours after that. What I spent the most of my time playing, and I feel like it's the most replayability and most people will be interested, is the skirmish mode. We'll talk about that in a second. But there is also the level editor thing they have here. So not only can you go in and by the way, they give you the tools that they themselves use to make the maps. They do make it a point to saying that as soon as you start the level editor, they're like, hey, we use the same tools. So you have the ability to completely, you know, fix the map up, put water everywhere, put enemies everywhere. But they also give you the sort of tools to create your own scripts and your flags and your campaign levels. So you can do like you know, random audio cues during certain events. You can have NPCs that you can talk to. So you can even make a ton of single player maps or make the most gimmicky ones you want. Or ones that I've downloaded, for example, a training mode where it's like, hey, you can download this map and you have all the freedom, all the resources you want, and basically just test out all the units so you can mess with that too. So that is cool. People are uploading stuff, and the game just came out, so there isn't that much, but I did try some out, which is pretty cool. So let's jump into the skirmish mode and just talk about all of the different features in this game. What did I like and what did I dislike, and absolutely what needs worked on. So in the skirmish mode, it acts like this. And by the way, you can play multiplayer, but I don't know. I went online and I tried to find any sort of games on a server, but none were available. I even tried to go, you know, Europe, US, West, the East, Asia. Nothing was there, so I don't know if their servers were down when I tried or just not a lot of people are playing. But this game is highly anticipated at the moment of this review. Very positive with almost 300 reviews, and I have to say I agree with them. I haven't read them yet. I'm going to read them later, but I just want to give you my thoughts on this. So, like I said, skirmish mode. It's going to be like your basic sort of, you know, skirmish game where you pick a sort of faction. There's 4 factions, and you know, this game has a lot of medieval stuff, but it's very similar in terms of like the types of units. So you get like your basic humans, you got like scaly mermen, swamp people, your undead people, and so on. So you're gonna be picking your guys, your color, and then you're gonna be going through a lot of different maps. They have a really good amount of maps to start out with, and a lot of them are sets, meaning you can't really change how many sort of players are on each map. At least the ones that have a minimum. So, oh, this map only has a minimum of 2, you can't add a third one, and so on. You can change the density of resources, you can change how many different dwellings there are, and the dwellings of this game are the neutral units all around the map. And then you can set the AI. Right now, they're normal and easy mode AI. And I have to say, during your first couple of matches, you might want to play easy, because I got totally destroyed on normal, and you know, I was trying my hardest. So once you start up a map, it works like this. Let's just, for example, say you're playing a one-on-one map, and this is the kind of gameplay I'm showing you right now. So every single turn, you're going to be gaining resources depending on the buildings you have and the types of skills that your heroes have. In this game, the heroes are called Wielders, and those are the very, very strong units that are commanding and moving around your armies. So the whole goal of the map is basically destroy the other team. There is no other like 4x things like, oh, you can win by going to the moon, or you can win by real religion and stuff. It's no, defeat your enemy, make them quit. I really like how simple it is, but how you get to it is another story. There's a lot of different ways to actually, get them down. You can just destroy their base straight out, or you can choke all the resources out and just get strong and gang up on them that way. But I think one big huge key difference from the Heroes Might and Magic that this one did, and remember, I don't know if they changed it up in the sequel, so I'm just going from what I remember from the first game, is when you go and build that town, when you click on town in Heroes, you go into the screen and it shows you all the building potentials. Here, the buildings are on the map as well, and your building, your main settlement, starts with tier 1, and you go tier 2, tier 3, and so on. On tier 1, you have access to 2 building spots that you can make, and you have a lot of choices here. And this is what I really love about this. You got choices and choices. So you're pretty much at the beginning gonna have your wielder with your basic units, depending on, and there's a lot of different wielders, a lot of different stats. They're gonna be running around the map, gathering resources, getting sort of stations where they get passive income, like you can get a farm, 500 gold each turn, etc. You run around, you get some knowledge and power to level up. While you're doing that, every single turn you're going to be building. So on your first 2 little plots, maybe you want to build a barracks for more minions to pop in, or hey, I want wood produced every single turn. So it's up to you to decide, what do you want to do, what do you want to work with. It's going to be a lot of trial and error as soon as you play this game. It is a lot of learning, but if you are very familiar with the Heroes of Might and Magic, it's going to be second nature with a couple of really cool upgrades and quality of life stuff for sure. But yes, you want to get used to all the units and whatnot. So you just keep going, and tier 2, once you hit tier 2, which requires like money and extra resources, then you just add a couple of plots to your land. For example, maybe level 2 will give you a medium plot plus another small plot. So the small plot, you can once again add any sort of building you want, but the medium unlocks very specific buildings, like, oh, maybe now you have access to the market, so you can buy and sell resources and whatnot, or even better units. And then you level up again, you can get smaller, medium plots and large plots, which is obviously way crazier buildings with more resources. So I really like that, where you just, you can't just rush the strongest units at the beginning. You have to slowly build up, but you have to choose depending on the situation, how fast do you want to go, which units do you want to do. Because what I found was that this game also has research. So a lot of the factions have like a couple of different unit types. You have your basic, overall faction, where maybe you do some research and you level up everything in your faction, or specifically like beast or winged units or something like that. So you want to dedicate some sort of, because you have very, very limited building space, you want to dedicate that to a lot of different, types of units and research. So you want to specialize in that and go on. So I'm just talking all about the macro game, right? You want to run around the map, and very similar to Might and Magic, going to be using the heroes to attack other sort of NPCs, and you can basically see, depending on your vision and sight, how well you're going to be doing against them, whether or not it's easy, challenging, or even funny suicide, it says on there. You defeat them, they're guarding some stuff, you get a lot of experience and so on. When you kill them, your character levels up, and you, depending on the character, they can get a lot of different skills. You either upgrade an existing skill, which is a lot of cool passive skills, or you learn a new passive skill, or you increase your troop, how many units you can have. Because right now, at the beginning of the game, you can maybe hold up to 4 different units on the field. I say units, they're armies, but 4 separate armies, and you can have up to 9 at the end of that sort of tree for upgrading your units. So combat works like this. Basically, you can manually fight, or you can quick play. I highly recommend you do manual, because the combat's actually really fun. So it's a left side versus right side, and depending on the situation, maybe you're going to be sieging a castle, or maybe it's just a plain, very neutral field, but there's some elevation there. So think like any of your typical, really pretty decent turn-based, grid-based battlers, where you're going to be taking turns left and right depending on the initiative, who goes first. You have range units, you have melee units. Some units even have special abilities, so you don't have just an attack and that's it. Like move and attack, that's pretty basic, but no, you have a lot of other stuff. You have Special abilities depending on your character. You have modifiers on your attacks. Maybe some units poison, or maybe they do a really good counter attack. What I really like what they did here is with the mana system. So every single character in the game is very viable with spells. There's a lot of different types of spells to start off with. There's your basic damaging one, there's debuffs, there's AoEs, there's traps, there's placement spells. You know, there's a lot of stuff. So every unit that you actually control during your battle, when it's their turn, when it's the initiative, they generate mana for you. So how it works is some units are more affiliated with certain mana, like, oh, red mana, this one's yellow mana, blue mana. So it's up to you to decide which units do you want in your party, not just for combat mechanics, combat composition, but also for your spells. So okay, I want more destruction spells. I'm gonna have some red units, but I also want to have some range units. Dan, do I really want to give up some red for that? So every time you pick it up, depending on how like strong the unit is or rare, I say rare, the more like harder it is to get. Usually they give you more and more types of essences. So yeah, more red does that, green does that. But there, even further, you can have unit types that, or spells that have multiple colors. So like, oh, red and a yellow spell combined equals this. And at the moment, I think every single faction and hero has the same sort of spell pool. It's up to you to decide what you want and go from there. So super strong units or more spells and so on. You can also upgrade the tiers of spells, by the way. So I guess there's that sort of difference where, yeah, some of the wielders or heroes in this game will be better, more stronger in spells, but at the same time, everyone has access to it. You can also get a lot of equipment. You got your main hand, defensive, trinkets, helmets, etc. So a lot of customizable stuff. And all of that equipment goes just on your wielder. They're not actually on the board. However, all of the stats that they do get from the equipment go to your people. So if you got like a chest plate, 10 defense goes to all your units and so on. So you just keep going back and forth, and whoever wins, yeah, the other guy dies, and you go from there. So the whole game is kill, move, and explore. It's a really fun, really fun game loop, and the combat goes very, very fast. They do a good breakdown when you hover over the enemy. You can left click and you can see exactly how many units, how much HP, how much attack, how much range. And when you're attacking them, you can see there's no like missing or anything unless you like blind them. But you can see the projected outcome. Like, okay, you have 50 units that deal 10 to 15 damage each, and you're about to attack this unit that has 25 units. You're going to kill 19 to 21 units, so on. And you can also see the turnover, so it's very polished in the combat. I think the combat is very, very strong, but the macro also important. You have a huge breakdown of all of your resources coming in, and as I mentioned at the beginning, building your town, you have to choose, like, hey, do I want to build a guard tower here because they're going to attack, or F it, I'm going to build a freaking mine here to get money every single turn. So it's very similar to Heroes of Might and Magic, where you build the barracks, and then you know, every couple turns more and more units come. You get your heroes, you pick up units, and you go walk around and try to take over the map while also trying to see where the enemy's going, and from there. So I mean, I don't know what to say. It's just super similar, but that's not a bad thing. I really like this. I'm still in the middle of another skirmish. I'm in the middle of a 3-hour-long skirmish because it's so fun with the AI going back and forth. I'm very excited to keep trying this and messing around. Like I said, I haven't tried multiplayer, and I'm kind of scared to because I don't think I'm good at the game. But if you play hot seat with somebody, I think that'll be fun. But overall, in online PvP, that will be very interesting to watch. I'll probably try to watch some streams. But I'm going to keep playing. I really enjoy it. $30 for early access. Unfortunately, early access. But hey, it's really good as it stands. If you can get it on a sale, I think $25 is a really good deal if you can. But I say $30 as it stands. If you are into these types of games, this is one of the most, you know, really good comparable quality games of this type. I've played a good amount of indie Hero Might and Magic ones, and they, you know, they're okay, but this one is the best one so far. Not kidding, it's one of the best. So if you guys enjoyed, leave a like, it helps a lot. If you haven't sub for daily videos, if you have any more questions about the game, maybe I didn't cover, maybe like music you wanted to know, how about some extra, like the longevity of the game, just if you have any questions, comment below. Let me know. And if you have played the game and maybe you didn't like some of the things they added or they want to add, let me know as well, because there are some quality of stuff they could add here. Off the top of my head, let's see. Actually, I don't know anything that's bad. It's good. It's a really good game, but I'm sure that I can nitpick on some stuff. I'm sure. But other than that, oh yeah, you have to go to the options and you have to turn on grid-based movements, how far you can see your character, because there's a good amount of stuff that I think should be toggled on from the beginning. So make sure you go into the accessibility and you see it doesn't really give you a huge advantage, but it's very, very convenient to know exactly how many spaces you're moving and etc. Just please do that. You're gonna save yourself a lot of headache. So yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.